Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilburn of the Active Trend Traders. Welcome to the After Market Monday webinar. Let's go, and what we want to do with this entity is first I want to do the disclaimer and say all materials presented here are for trading purposes only. Traders should always pay for trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. Our objective of this is just a timely, actionable intel at the beginning of each week. I open this up to both active trend trading members who are premium and non-premium members because, hey, I want to share as much information as possible. Now, of course, for the premium members, they're the ones who are going to get the triggers and the alerts and all that kind of stuff when things go off. And so, hey, David, how you doing? So we'll do a real quick market review, stocks, ETFs setting up, and anything else worth focusing on. So here's some of the things I'm looking at going into next week, or going into this week. Nugget, LABU, those of you trading LABU, it got, we moved the stop loss up for a trailing stop, and both trailing stops were taken out in LABU. So, we pulled out with about, somewhere between a 5 to 3% gain on that one. I like Cruise, WB, YY, Cruise and WB because of earnings coming up. I'm looking for, and I went into great depth on the webinar, or on the recording I did last night called on the radar for premium members about what I'm looking for with Tesla to be able to trade Tesla in all three strategies. NVDA, just the other side of the coin from Tesla, also looking for strategies 1 and 2 on that. Just always remember, guys, there is no holy grail of trading. There's only tools and rules. And as Tom Sosna says, wealth creation is a derivative of mechanically addressing opportunity. Got a really great question earlier from one of our members. Ask a question about how at the, if you've been out of the market for a while, how do you come back, after, either a vacation or all that kind of stuff and get back in the groove? And there's a lot of different ways you can do it. It's like getting back into a workout program after you haven't been working out for a while. You start slow. I mean, that's the big thing the cool thing about it is if you are one who paper trades, jump in and do some paper trading just to get kind of back in the groove. Make sure you're seeing the signals okay. And if you're not a paper trader, start small in an account. If you would normally buy, let's say 500 shares of something, buy 200 until you're sure that you are basically utilizing your rules correctly. And before you do that, review your rules and kind of see and visualize yourself going through the rules. If price action does this, this is what I'm going to do. And that's one of the ways that you can get back in the groove. But it's kind of a slow process, and it starts with spend a little bit of time until finally you're back, doing what you need to do. I mean, you don't lay off, for 2 or 3 weeks and then go out and run a marathon per se. You basically lay off 2 or 3 weeks and then you start by running a 10K or a 5K or a 2K. And so we'll take a look at LABU here shortly, David, with regards to LABU. But let's take a look at SPX. Okay, very interesting. Those of you who are members, I put out an alert to go ahead and sell some SPDR weekly calls against this position. Why? Well, partly because we're getting a bearish candle at the end of the day. How's that trade going to work out? At this time, I don't really know, but I did sell an at or slightly in the money call down here at the 245 level on the SPY. But part of the reason is because we get a long tail on Friday's candle, a long tail. This is basically a spinning top doji slash, small shooting star today. How far am I expecting it to fall? Well, I know we're going to run into some support there at the 2453 level, which equates to the 245 level on the SPDR. Well, if I get down to that level, I'm going to basically just take my profits, some of my profits off, or I will basically keep my trailing stop up here on the SPY chart above Friday's high, by just like a nickel or a dime. If it goes above that, get me out of the trade at market. And the liquidity on the spider options is such that that should work out fine. So SPX, not a lot to write home about. We're still getting some negative divergence on the weekly charts, as you can see over here. Let me draw a couple of things in here just to keep an eye on. One is, as you can see, momentum as shown by the TSI has just been kind of meandering up, sideways on the momentum. And we're getting a potential of getting what they call a three-line bearish cluster on the market forecast, where everything's above the 20-day move, above the 20% line. And oftentimes when that happens, that stops the upward momentum. Doesn't necessarily throw it into a downtrend, but it'll stop it. We had one right here, which equates to about there. You can see that one, nothing happened really. It just basically kind of went flat and then continued to climb up. And at some point, these things, will, have an effect where they will drive the prices back down or sideways. Right now, we could just drive sideways in the S&P between the two, between this breakout level and the 2400. That's what I'm looking at. Let's move on quickly here. NDX. NDX, I mean, it is, just it got a breakout, then fell back down below it. So which way are we going to turn from here? Are we going to roll over and fall? Again, negative divergence a little bit, definitely negative divergence on the weekly indicators. And we're getting to that time of year where we would expect the indexes to be a little bit weak. Russell, everybody has been talking about the Russell, a lot of people have been talking about the Russell today, how it's the strongest of the indexes, and truly it is. But what is the other thing you can notice about this? Well, it's really close to this this upward trending envelope or channel, and you've got the Keltner channels up here. So, I mean, we could push up a little higher, but it's got to get past that 1433 level. And as I said last night on the radar, I like TNA. But I like TNA to the long side if I can pick it up down here close to the 50-day moving average, and it's just in this one of these, I'm not buying here. I want to get something where I can buy with a TSI tick up, and that's it. So let's see, where are my other? I wanted to go really quickly over. I will start with IBB first. IBB. Now this is the non-leveraged biotech ETF, and what do we have going on here? Well, we get a shooting, basically a spinning top doji on Friday. Today we get a bearish engulfing from Friday's price action, and we had pushed up into resistance about the 318 level. And so what would we expect from here? Well, probably it could push all the way back down to the 310 to the 308 level. And how does that translate over to LABU? LABU, we got into a trade on this LABU around the 13th, which would have been here on this, or here. One of these 2 days here. About $65, pushed up, and then stopped dead in the water at 69.31. Didn't quite take out our 7% gain. So what I did today is I choked up my trailing stop. I wanted to get at least 5% off of part of the trade, and then I wanted to give it a chance to bust out from here and run all the way up to 73 or 75, which would be a 20% gain. Around 20% gain. I think 77.95 was the 20% gain. But as you can see, it reversed hard today. bearish engulfing. And so what I'm looking for with LABU is probably a pullback back down into the 62 level, could pull back into the 59 level. Why 59? As we can see over on this side, 59 is in the top third of this big green candle. So right anywhere in there could provide us some support. And then 55.25, which is the breakout area, could again provide us some support for a big, for a bounce. This is still looking, daily chart, we're above the 50, and we're dancing up here with the 8, the 20, and so could get a pullback into that area. And as we said, the 50-day is moving, all the way up. Let's draw a real quick. Got to keep moving here. Let's draw a real quick fib retracement on here, just to give us a flavor of going from here up to there. And as you can see, the 57.20 would be a 50% retracement, and so we've got a bracket of support around the 55.25 up to the 59 level. So look for that for a potential turnaround. Am I going to trade the inverse of this to the downside or to the back of the upside? I'm not. Now, if you want to do that, that's totally up to you. You are getting some bullish divergence, and just watch the Keltner channels and the moving average envelope on a daily chart, because it could move all the way back up into that area, which would give you about a there we go. Like if we took off from here, went back to the Keltner channel or the moving average envelope about 15%, Keltner channel about 19%. So be aware that that's what's going on there with LABU. Nugget. I do like GDX, which is the, and why is this? Well, part of it is because, okay, GDX is the gold miner index. July is the time we should get the reversal. And so, it's working. GDX gives us a little bit clearer picture on the gold miners. You can see it's hitting down here about, just below 21. It's found support there several times, whereas with Nugget, it's contango, and it's got a little bit of a down slope, and that's partly due to what it has to buy to move into the to cover a 3-time leverage on the gold, on the gold miners. Again, right now, in no man land, I'm not buying. If we get a nicer breakout, a pullback into the 8 or into the into the Keltner channels. Like if we get the Keltner channels and the moving average envelope where it is rolled back up like this, that would be a positive. I mean, it looks like that's what it wants to do. And then somewhere down closer into this area, the 8 to 28, 8, 20, or at the Keltner or moving average, that was where I'd be looking for a trade. Keep an eye on the TSI. TSI tick up is good here. However, the volume has not kicked in on this entity at this point. Dorothy asked a question. LABU looks to be trending down on daily. Does it need to go down for a period of time before an uptick of this TSI? Yeah, I would like to see either a downtrend or sometimes the TSI just continue to fall while the price action moves sideways. Let's take a real quick look again, LABU. As you can see, often, occasionally these initial bounces off the 0 line, which is a level of support, are fake outs. And so we bounce back up, hit against the the moving average envelope, didn't quite get to the Keltner channel, and then has reversed back down. So when you reverse back down like that, Dorothy, I would anticipate getting a bigger pullback. Let me get rid of this real quick. Remove that. Let's take a look over here on the, again, on a weekly chart. And it had started to roll over, TSI, and so we may get a pullback, like I said, back down into its former breakout area. But right now it's basically putting in what would be considered a bull flag. Here's your weekly chart. Short-term uptrend. We've got all the moving averages showing that this is in an uptrend. So now we're waiting for the pullback, and we'll see what happens with that. Okay, let's see. I want to cover really quick the okay, let's cover these and these, and we'll cover 5 more entities, and then we'll be done. Get us out of here. And I'm pushing the time envelope. So okay. So WB. These Chinese stocks are really starting to do pretty good. Ellie, I was looking at WB for a potential pre-earnings run. WB has earnings on 8/8 after before the market closes. So you know, it's clearly not giving us an opportunity to buy in at this particular point. We have pushed on up. We had a crossover with the 820, but we've got this downtrending line. So let's see where it goes from here. This is where I would switch from the daily chart. I would switch to the intraday daily chart, and see what it does over here. See, you know, it has gotten back down to the 50-day moving average. It may get a rebound from here. If it gets a rebound from here and moves back up, that's a 4% gain. If it moves up higher than that, and again, pre-earnings run, I'm looking for somewhere between 5 to 10%. That's it. I think the other one was. Okay, Cruise and YY. Everything got a little bit of a sell-off today. Remember, next week, as we go into next week, and again, I would go back to the intraday. You know, not a lot of great things here on Cruise on the intraday. I mean, it is hanging up over here, but it looks like it wants to fall back down. Could it break back down into the 820, 50-day moving average and then rebound prior to earnings? Sure, but it's got earnings 8/2, which is a couple of weeks away, same day that Tesla has its earnings. And then YY, here's what I'm looking for YY. YY ripped out of here on huge volume again. However, the tail is the tail. Okay, this upper wick or upper tail on the daily candle. So I said, okay, sellers have come in at 67.50 and we're outside the Keltner channel, so we're way extended. So I'm waiting for a pullback down into its former breakout. Does it have to get all the way to 61.54? No, but I'd like to see it get down somewhere between 62.50, 62.21, somewhere on there, $62. And then see the rebound from there. That's what I'm waiting for on that, on YY. And the last two, NVDA. NVDA looking kind of interesting today. We're at the top of the Keltner channel, as you can see, and moving average envelope on a daily chart. And on the intraday chart, we actually bounced up high for the first part of the day, sold off to the 20 period moving average on an hourly chart, and then tried to break back up to 165, then failed and pushed over. If we break through like this trend line here tomorrow, which would be about the, let's see, 163.27 level, I'd be look at selling the 162.50 calls on NVDA for strategy number 3. We could also sell the a call spread. Let's say the 162.50 call versus the 165 or 167 call is what we could sell in that case. And then last but not least, Tesla big, nice sell-off today. That 8-period moving average did work as a resistance line and pushed it on down. Are we starting to get bottoming signs here on Tesla? Don't know. I'm playing this as an earnings run. I'm waiting for some positive price action to be able to get into a pre-earnings run. I want to basically do all three. I want to sell premium against it for the, which has nothing to do with the earnings run, but I want to sell premium against it for strategy 3. I want to basically get into a long position that will expire the week of earnings. And right now I'm trying to figure out, okay, what I'm letting the charts tell me what do I want to buy. I either want to buy the 330 or the 340 calls. Let me flash that up on the screen real quick to show you what that looks like. Maybe. Okay, here we go. And here's Tesla. And what we're waiting for is Tesla in that. Now that particular option is this one, and it started to tick up a little bit. It was down at 53 on the implied volatility earlier today and over the weekend. So I'm looking, okay, the 130s are going for about 10 bucks. Make sure that's, and the 140 is going for about 670. So I was leaning towards the 340s, and the expected move prior to earnings is plus or minus 31, almost $32, and so $32 on top of the 319, or let's say 320, 30 bucks on top of it would take us up to 350. So that would make that that would make the 340 calls that expire the week of earnings huge. But again, if I buy that, it's going to have to be, I've got to get a better looking chart pattern. So I can do a couple of things. One, I can draw a line in here. If I take out that line there to the upside, or I want to be watching for this, down here in the 13, somewhere between the 313 to the 310, or even, way out of the block, somewhere 306 to 303. That's where I could find my support, and then I'll make my adjustment. So, okay, guys, that's it for today. I've given you more than enough to think about. Appreciate you checking in, and I think I've answered all the questions. So, hey, have a great rest of the week trading, and if you're a premium member, stand by. Those alerts will be coming out earlier. Later this week when things set up. So God bless everybody. Have a great day.